My name is Renaldo Wynn, and I'm here for another edition of Chalk Talk here at Game Plan for Life. And we got a great opportunity to talk to my main man, former Raider great, Charlotte Panther great, my man Tyler Brayton. We're here at his house. And Tyler, you were a Raider pick, first-round draft pick from Colorado State, and you ended up getting that pick. They got that pick because of John Gruden. Tell us, what was it like playing with the Raiders and also playing with the great Al Davis, who was also the face of the Raiders for such a long time?
Well, it was definitely an experience, that's for sure. When I first got the call from the Raiders that they were going to draft me, it was a little surreal at first because, growing up on the West Coast, the Raiders were kind of the bad boys, and, I always kind of liked that. And they had that mystique, that air about them. Plus, they just came off a Super Bowl. So I was excited, was ready to go. It was great. Then I got there, and it's just interesting. Some of the characters, some of the people that you get to meet, like Bill Romanowski, Tim Brown, Jerry Rice, Rich Gannon, just to name a few. And to go from watching those guys on TV to all of a sudden being on the same team as those guys was a little bit surreal. And then you got Al Davis. Some people say he didn't invent the long ball, but he kind of redefined the vertical passing game. And, he was critical in the role of the NFL and the AFL joining back in the 60s. And he was just a wealth of knowledge, and just people forget what he did for the game, I think, a lot of times.
I think he doesn't get a lot of credit, but a lot of people don't know how involved Al was in as far as a part of football. I hear from a lot of the different guys that you talked about, they always say Al watched every film and he would probably critique if you made a play or didn't make a play. Talk a little bit about how involved Al used to be.
Well, I can give a couple examples. One specifically, we're sitting on the sideline, and the phone rang on the sideline where the offense was out there. One of the equipment managers went over, picked up the phone, handed it to the coach. And Warren Sapp looked over at me and said, "We're going deep next." I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, the head man just called down. We're going deep." Sure enough, we throw a fade route. And then I'm just like, wow. And it was incomplete, but still, just the fact that, Al Davis called down there and said, "You guys need to throw deep." It was just surreal. And then another time, I was playing defensive end, and we're playing the Broncos, and they had that zone running scheme. They'd either give the ball to the running back, or the quarterback would pull it out for the bootleg. Well, in our scheme, they wanted us to take the running back and then go to the quarterback later. Well, so I kind of went down there and got sucked in a little bit too far. A quarterback rolled out, got outside me, threw a long pass, and of course it was complete. And of course the next week, I think it was either Monday or Wednesday, Al Davis rolled around the corner. By that point, he was in a walker, but it was like the most souped up walker you've ever seen. It had these handbrakes, and he'd just be walking by, and you just kind of hear him coming down the hall, and all of a sudden he'd hit the brakes, and he called me. He added extra syllable to my name. To him, I was Tyala. So he said, "Tyala, come here," and he points just like that, and he hits the brakes, and I come over there, and he's like, "What are you doing on the bootleg, son? What are you doing?" He's like, "If I was your teammate, I would have choked you." And I just looked at him, so I was like, "Mr. Davis, the coach said, he wants to tackle the running back first, then go to the quarterback." He's like, "No, go get the quarterback." And so that's kind of just how involved he was.
Wow, one of the great characters of all time for the NFL, and such a legacy and history that he left, for the, as he says, the Oakland Raiders. But flipping the script a little bit, you come here, you sign a free agent deal with the Carolina Panthers. The coach at the time, John Fox. You guys had some pretty good years. What was your experience like here in Carolina?
It was night and day, just as far as the team, the front office, the fan base. You come here and it's just like everyone's excited to be here. We're all robbing the same train, so to speak. We're all working towards a common goal. And it was refreshing, man. It was. Coach Fox had an amazing way to be the ultimate authority on the team without being a jerk about it. You know, a lot of head coaches, they feel like they got to be really abrasive to command the respect of the players and get them to do what they want. But he had a way about him that he could get us to do what he wanted to do because we wanted to do it. Right. And I thought he was a really good motivator that way. So just coming here, just the types of players that they had here, you know, were kind of blue collar, high character guys, and I really enjoyed it. I really did, and we had some good success my first year. The second year, we ended up 500, and they didn't renew Coach Fox's contract, and that's when he went to Denver. But for me, that was the most enjoyable point in my career, playing here. Just with the front office, Coach Fox, and the players, and the team and individual success. It was far and away my favorite time in the NFL.
And also, I'm sure being here in Carolina, there's more than just football. There's racing, the capital of racing. That's why we're standing here in your garage behind this unbelievable car, 64 Malibu. Being here in Carolina, was that something that kind of drew you to racing, or were you already involved in racing? And how did you get involved in racing if that was the case?
I got involved in bracket racing at Bandimere Speedway in Denver, Colorado when I was in college. I had this car then. It was just something I drove on the street. But I had a buddy who got me into it, and I was hooked ever since. And on the West Coast, drag racing is big, and East Coast NASCAR is a lot bigger out here. But they still, out here, there is a ton of drag racing. And so in the off seasons, what I would do is from January till August, I would race as much as I could.
You driving the car, or somebody else driving the car for you? Are you driving the car, or what?
No.
You racing?
Yeah, I'm not much for spectating. I'm a participant. So I was the loose nut behind the wheel was driving the car, and it was fun because for me it was a perfect blend of cars. I love cars, speed. I like to go fast, and competition. I love to compete. So you put those three things together, and it makes for an addictive recipe. So bracket racing. From January to August, and then I put it up for football season and focus on football. But when I moved out here, I started to get a little bit more serious out here, just because the competition's a lot stiffer out here. It's unbelievable. This is by far the best bracket racing I've been around. And top to bottom, you know, guys are just good, so I had to step up my game a little bit.